Hello everyone and welcome to Data and AI Lounge, where ideas and technology converge and spin off. This is Michele Arpaia, and in today's episode we welcome Ben Rand, General Manager and VP of Business Development at Riversand. He's a thought leader, a light in the dark when it comes to e-commerce, a strenuous advocate of sublime customer experiences, an entertaining and insightful speaker. I've known Ben for, say, almost 10 years now, and I can't wait to see what he's gonna share today.
3, 2, 1, action, man. Hey, Ben, thank you very much. Really, I'm so thrilled to have you. I know to have you here on my show. I know we've been trying to catch up each other for a while now. You're busy, I'm busy, so welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. It's my pleasure, right? And especially when I see you now in front of the bridge in San Francisco, probably, right? We worked together even in Australia, in Italy, across the world. So pleased to see you.
Same here. Really, I'm on the beach. I'm putting the bridge just to fake where I am. I am laying on the beach in some place, South Africa. Look, one of the idea behind the Data AI Lounge, this is kind of container that I'm creating, and I'm experimenting with that. And thank you for accepting my invitation. It's really the metaphor is the lounge. So we sit, relax, we chat, but we say things that would resonate with our customers, with our partners, but in a very informal way. So I don't have a structured agenda. I want you to just be relaxed. But I think it would be good to start with, okay, who are you? What do you do when you get up in the morning? What do you do? At Riversand, by the way.
Yeah, no, sure, right. So I'm Ben Rand. I've been, I think, in the data-driven digital space for about 20 years, which sounds a bit strange, but I think that was the first time when I was working with a customer who's using structured data to sell more. And that is still the case, especially when now everyone is about driving more revenue, understanding customers better in the digital e-commerce space, especially in this year. But yeah, for Riversand, we're a cloud-native SaaS master data experience platform, which is natively running on the Microsoft Cloud. And yeah, with that, we're actually helping customers to sell more products digitally or understand the customers better. That's what we do for many global enterprises.
That's of course, that resonates with my job as well here at Microsoft. I would start from, everybody says data is new oil, data is important, blah, blah, blah. It's on everybody's lips. So, but I think I would ask the question from a different perspective. We understand that data is important, and especially master data, that I would like you to really define in one simple statement. How, in your experience, a company or companies without governing this data, this kind of data, master data, look like? So what kind of pain they experience?
I actually would like to use 2 examples for that.
Good.
If you don't have good product master data, you cannot successfully sell in e-commerce because you're not having convincing content which makes your e-commerce conversion rates be good, or you have negative impact on your product returns in e-commerce, especially now when we're about approaching Cyber Week. That is fundamental. 2 is, how can you understand the 360 view of your customers, prospects, or business partners if you don't have a master data management platform which connects these dots? I think these are 2 things which actually every company in almost every industry truly needs.
That's very interesting, because in my experience, typically looking at the data is generally, and that's wrong, an afterthought. We define the architecture, the look and feel, blah, 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 and then you hit the wall and say, oh, shoot, what's the problem? And I actually regularly see that if you dig into a little bit, you see that there is a lack of a solid data architecture. So to your point, I think also that we should bring the data conversation from the very beginning, right? In terms of defining the requirements and the user experience and the scalability. Otherwise, it becomes an afterthought with all the pain attached to that. And I relate to that. I see this all the time.
I have a quick thought on that, because I recently met somebody who is running e-commerce for a big manufacturer. And he said, I wanted to move fast on e-commerce, so we did it without MDM or PIM, because we wanted to get something started faster and not first invest a lot of time in getting the data right. But he said, when we're now scaling into phase 2 or 3, for going into multiple brands, multiple business units or lines of business, multiple countries, and it's becoming more complex, we need to get the data foundation right. Of course, let's say a person like me who's an MDM person or PIM person for life, we don't like to hear that, right? But I think I appreciated that information, that he wants to have fast success, but he knows that if it's getting complex and volume driven, you better get the data in order, right? Because otherwise it's impacting your results. And we've seen that without the data, there's not the outcomes you want to achieve.
Yeah, definitely, from the get-go. You know that I have millions and millions of people following me, billions actually, on this channel. So I don't want to disappoint anybody. So can you please define in a simple, I know you very well, I know that you can translate technical stuff in a very business like terms and digestible for my grandparents. What's MDM and PIM? Why you use these words, not acronyms? We don't like acronyms, everybody. So if you have to explain to your growing child, so look, I do MDM, I do PIM. Papa gets up in the morning and trying to talk with the customer about this. How would you explain those?
Good question. I love that, and you may have seen, right? I've done some episodes, some data talks to explain. Well, MDM or PIM, in simple words, MDM is the 360 view of your products, customers, suppliers, or any critical data. Gartner says parties, places, and things. And to connect the knowledge across that. Okay, that sounds theoretical, but what is it in real life? It is understanding every prospect which comes to your website or comes to your store or calls you on a call center or sends you a WhatsApp message, through all these channels, connecting and understanding who is a customer. Is that already a customer? Who is he related in already? Or is there somebody in the household I could also sell to? So creating a clear view of my customer and prospects. This is what MDM does. What product MDM or PIM does is really managing complexity. If you have a large assortment, let's say a retailer is selling millions of products in fashion online, or an automotive company or who's selling millions of automotive aftermarket parts, where you have to manage this replacement parts only fits to that model from that series from that year. And that complexity, automating that in order to sell more faster. This is what mainly PIM does to companies, whether they're all small or big.
That's great explanation, Ben. I think I would maybe keep this when I do the editing, but that's I think it's a good way. So Ben, I want to change gear here a little bit. We talk about data. Of course, unless someone has lived in a cave over the last 3-4 decades, everybody knows that the AI is revolutionizing the world. And if you want to extract insights or understand, make the data meaningful, you have to use AI. And I'm not talking about AI, the general AI in the future that will come and conquer us and blah, blah, blah. I'm talking very real case, real life scenarios. So what's your view and your story about how you connect the data, the master data, to machine learning? For maybe it will be a more appropriate way to say that. But yeah, if you can enlighten us a little bit on that, would be good.
Yeah, at least my view, right, with my little experience. But for sure, right, the world, the people dream that AI makes the world a better place and solve probably data quality problems automatically. That is what many people dream of. I would say today in master data management or master data context, there is not yet a real AI, but there is empowerment by machine learning, where good machine learning platforms can learn what is a trusted source for where is data coming from, what source brings correct values. Let's say what source is a trusted source for correct addresses or for correct product attributes. It remembers that and can then redo that exercise. But especially as we're now in the time of Cyber Week, and we see all this discounting in e-commerce, and everyone is hot about e-commerce revenue to save companies' ass in lockdowns and so on. So I quickly want to talk about one thing. I would say in e-commerce, there is still KPIs like conversion rates and return rates, which are key to every e-commerce manager. Okay. And there's currently a trend to create automatic product descriptions when it comes to higher volumes of products in multiple languages and countries companies are selling. But if you have only little information and probably also wrong quality, you cannot use an automation to create compelling, engaging content that sells, even if you could do that automatically. So, and by the way, maybe we can do a link to that blog somewhere, because I recently wrote a blog about hyper automation in e-commerce and how that could look with good data and with bad or not enough data. So people who look that up immediately see why you need the data in order to make all this automation for e-commerce. So I think that's something to look at, and maybe we can post a comment or the link somewhere.
That will appear on the screen in a second.
That might be good for people who want to really understand and see an example, right? Not just us having your blah blah talking, but give examples. And when you see that, it's pretty obviously if you have a certain set of data and then you create an automatic description out of that, and you see a very poor one and you see a very, very good one, and then obviously the answer is pretty clear. Which is the one who is more compelling, which is selling better, which is impacting the conversion rates.
Yeah, this is really, really great. I am a great advocate of that, of real AI, what we call real AI, as opposed to all these pundits who discuss about AI, etc. So this I like it one. Let me bring to your attention another use case that I came across recently about. Not in the context of PIM, MDM, but as you know, PIM is in my heart. I will never be eradicated forever, no matter what I'm going to do in my life. So I spotted the use case. The customer was working with the product information, etc., and then their pictures, of course, media attached to that. We came up with a very simple architecture using the cognitive services, which are machine learning services are already trained. We start extracting information out of the picture and start populating, creating some sort of metadata layer around the pictures. And from here to start thinking about how to automate the association to the right picture to product information based on the description extracted automatically by these services would be probably a good step forward into a typical PIM/MDM platform.
I think that makes sense. We see that this is already happening. I think these are the new trends and innovations which are being offered more and more, and all of that. I think that all of them increases the automation and makes, let's say, the manual work less, but focused on the critical things. And for example, if we go back to your question on how ML empowers master data use cases, of course, if you have a situation of matching and merging any kind of records together, right? Suppliers, customers, location data, whatever. If you have an exact match to do, it is an easier thing, right? You have two different sources, and you have a unique identifier like a certain product code or so on, or an identity number or something which really is an exact match, and ML can help do that. It becomes more, let's say, critical when it's probabilistic fuzzy match when you have many criteria, but not this one unique identifier. Then you process the data, you check for matches, you show the percentage based on multiple criteria of a match, and you can say, I auto merge the data if the match is higher than 97%, for example. Yeah. If it's under 75%, I do nothing, for example, or I push it back. Or if it's between this, let's say 75 and 97%, I mark it as suspect data, and I process that to a business person to review that manually and then approve it. And even these approvals then can also go back into the machine learning processes. And over time, right, it requires learning time, right? You don't dump data in, and within the first second, everything is done. But over, let's say, usually a few weeks, you have kind of the outcomes of these learnings. And then you're gaining operational efficiencies, more speed, and more data.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, this is really great and demonstrates the applicability of machine learning in real use cases without all the fluffy marketing rubbish that we typically hear. I really like it, this realistic approach. So probably the next curiosity that I have in my mind, I know Riversand, right? So Riversand is a great company. I've known Riversand for ages and very visionary, great platform. And cutting edge, as you said, the machine learning, etc. I know that we recently Microsoft and Riversand came together, joined forces, and maybe if you want to talk a little bit about that partnership, just a few points, because I think that's important. Also in terms of the way you guys look at the market and the way you scale through partners, that would be.
Yeah. No, sure. Right. On the one side, of course, we're scaling through partners with our implementation partners because they bring the knowledge and help a great solution to be right usage, up and fast and running and achieve outcomes for the clients. But from the technology partnerships, Microsoft always was. And since Riversand is a cloud native SaaS offering and the only visionary in the Gartner quadrant, we're somehow proud on that. I have to mention it. Of course. We're fully based on the Microsoft Azure cloud. And that on the one hand side, I think that brings trust to many of our clients, to all of our clients who think they can trust security aspects of Microsoft. I think that's very important for the customers. And secondly, the big data and NoSQL-oriented microservice-based architecture, together with the power of Microsoft Azure Cloud, allows customers to scale elastically without boundaries if their data business is becoming more volume-driven, right? If your products grow from 500K to 5 or 50 million, or if your customer base grows, right, from a few hundred thousands to several millions. I think if you want to react to that more speed, more power, you can easily do it because Microsoft backs that. And together with our technology, this is the strong combination. So there is no limit anymore. I think we had old days where old technologies had not been ready for that scaling, server, multi-server, and suddenly everything was stuck. Your MDM is stuck, your e-commerce is stuck. Nothing works when there's big data loads, even deltas coming. Now we have entered a new age, a new era. And I think that's why definitely the Microsoft partnership also is adding a lot of value to our customers.
Glad to hear that. And I like, if I can wrap this up, the link between scalability and customer experience, because you typically say, what's scalability? People start talking about all the tech. Scalability is how to maintain customer experience regardless of the volume and the velocity of data underneath, right? So this
very good point, Michael. It's a very good point because at the end, we want everything now. Whether we're a business customer or we're a private shopping customer, we don't want to wait. And this is the current mantra of the market. And that's where you, I think, make a good summary on this. Scalability is customer experience in the world of now. It's a very good point. I like that.
I learned a lot from you. You know that, right?
You're so nice.
I spent 10 minutes with you, Ben, this morning. I feel like kind of even more energized and convinced even more about the importance of data and of course your work through the impact on business. This focus on business and customer experience of technology is paramount, and is something that I kind of march under this banner. So thank you again. I hope to see you in the physical world at some point. You are not far away. You are still in Stuttgart. I'm in Rome, so it's just around the corner. Hopefully our path will cross some way.
I hope the same. It was my pleasure. Always enjoy the dialogue with you. Hopefully other moments for in-person meeting comes. Yeah, my pleasure. We do a second chapter when we're taking things to the next level.
That's a good idea. Actually, I will write it down. Thank you, and see you next time.
All right, thanks.
Ciao.